I made an effort and put Baymax and Pooh in the background and you can't even see them. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I'm officially kicking off the Disney Cultural Exchange Programme series that I want to do. I've wanted to literally be filming these videos since I first applied for the CEP. For those of you who don't know or are new to my channel, I am doing the Disney Cultural Exchange Programme this summer, so summer 2019. And basically I really just wanted to share my experiences with you guys and explain how I applied and the process behind everything. I feel like I'm starting this series really early in the year because applications don't open until July, I think. I don't know, I can't remember when I applied. But I have had so many questions on Instagram and Twitter and in the comments of my videos asking how I applied and oh, so what is it, how do you get to do that, and just people in general life just ask me all the time. So I thought now is officially the time to start filming the videos and I'm so excited. I've wanted to do this for so long. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. So I applied for Disney's Cultural Exchange Programme in July 2018, so last summer. And I basically applied for a company called Yummy Jobs, and I'm sure if you're watching this video you've probably heard of them before, but if not, they're a UK based company who deal with all the international programmes for Disney and Universal and the culinary programmes that they do, as well as the cultural exchange programme, which is the one that I'm going to be on. So yeah, basically a little bit of background for those of you who don't have a clue what I'm talking about right now. The cultural exchange programme is basically where you go over to Walt Disney World for the summer. This is in Orlando, by the way, because again, so many people have asked me, Paris? And I'm like, no, Florida. And then they're like, whoa, no way. But yeah, so I'm basically going to be going in June until late August, and basically you just work in the park for, work in the parks for 3 months. 2.5 kind of, but we say 3 because it sounds more interesting. Yeah, doing a range of different things from attractions to character performer to quick service food and beverage, which is what I am on, and also merchandise. So yeah, for those of you who didn't know and have been asking me a lot what it actually is, that is basically a quick background for what the job entails. So yeah, I applied back in July 2018 with Yummy Jobs. And for this video I basically want to talk a little bit about the application process. I'm going to do separate videos on both of the interview phases because I feel like you're not going to want it all in one big video, because obviously it's a given not everyone gets through each stage, so I didn't want to put it all in one big video and then if you're not in the final interview you don't have to watch it, but if you're in a pre-screen or you're just applying then you can watch those too. So yeah, without further ado, I'm such a rambler, by the way. If you're new to my channel, I ramble so much, so yeah, sorry about that in advance. Okay, so the application process, what I can remember, because it was honestly so long ago that I applied, it does feel like forever ago, because a quick disclaimer, the application process to get into a programme like this is so long. I don't know what it's like for the CRP or any of the Universal programmes. I don't know if they're any quicker, but Disney are so slow, rightly so, because obviously they have to pick the right people for their jobs, but it's ridiculously slow. This application process went from July until December, or early December, so it is a really long and slow process, but it is worth it, let me tell you. So in the initial application you basically have to fill out a web page, you have to fill out an online application form basically, which doesn't sound too taxing. I didn't realise how long and difficult this section was actually going to be, which is another reason that I wanted to film this video, because I feel like a lot of people get really caught out at this stage, and this is in a lot of ways the most important stage, because if you make it through this stage you get through to pre-screens, and if you make it to the final interview then you've basically got it, but they cut the most amount of people at the application stage, so this is the one that you really want to get right, so that you don't avoid missing out on the interviews and everything like that. So you fill out an online application form, which is fine. They ask you a couple of questions. I didn't write down the questions they actually asked because I'm stupid, but I'm pretty sure it was why do you want to work for Disney, and what is your experience with culture, or how do you feel about culture. The idea of the cultural representative, that's not what I'm doing, the cultural exchange programme, is that it's based around culture. So you have to basically talk about culture as much as you physically can. So in those 2 questions where it's like, why do you want to work for Disney? Don't start talking about why, like, because you love Disney and you grew up with it. Like, that is a nice little nod to add if you would like to, but the main bulk of the answer has to be about why you want to work with different cultures, you want to meet new people, you want to get a better understanding and learn new things from different, like, culture. Literally just throw in the word culture wherever you can and you will literally be fine. That's what I did anyway. The application process itself took me about, I don't know how many hours, like 7 hours I want to say. Like, it took a really long time, but that's only because I was so keen on making it perfect and getting it right. I watched a ton of YouTube videos like this one, basically to tell me how to write the cover letter and the CV and all of that. So most people probably already have a CV, and that's what I'm going to get onto next. I originally applied, or like went to apply with my normal CV, like the one that I've got for everyday jobs and like placements and like all of that sort of thing. I quickly learned that it's not what you're supposed to do. When you apply with your CV, make a whole new CV. Make it so that it's tailored for the job that you're applying to. So, for example, if you've got a lot of experience in retail and you want to apply for merchandise, then mention that. I personally only have ever worked within food, so I've worked in a fish and chip shop and in a pub. So I talked about those in my CV. I also mentioned a lot of things that I've done working in teams with people. So at school I was a prefect and like a student ambassador and things like that. So talk about those things, like those qualities that you think, like if you put yourself in the shoes of the person that's going to be reading your application, like make your CV relevant to what you're actually applying for. Obviously at this point you're not going to know if you're applying for food and beverage, merchandise, etc. But if you know you've got a lot of experience in one of those fields, then emphasise that, because the chances are they'll think, okay, you could be good for merchandise, okay, you could be good for quick service food and beverage. Like, that's just how it works. When it comes to the cover letter, you want to be creative with it. Again, you want to talk about culture. I'm not going to link my cover letter down below. I was thinking about doing that, but I don't think I will, just because I really don't want anyone to copy it, and also it's very cliche and a little bit cringe, because I feel like you kind of have to make it a little bit cringe for stuff like this. Basically, you want to talk about a good experience that you've had with a cast member in Disney, if you've ever been. If you haven't been, then just literally focus on culture. Again, I would probably say make it half and half. So I talked a little bit about working in different cultures and meeting new people, but at the same time I also talked about how I had a really good experience with a cast member when I went in 2016, and therefore I kind of want to replicate that and make the magic for other people, like using what I learned from the cast members that I met at the time. Like, you kind of, like, you don't want to completely ignore the fact that it is Disney, because obviously it is Disney, but at the same time you don't want that to be your main focus. Like, the main focus is culture. And I'm honestly expressing this so much because I know someone who unfortunately didn't make it through pre-screens because she didn't mention culture and she only talked about her love for Disney, which is so sad because she was so deserving of that job, but because she didn't mention culture, it just didn't happen. Like, she just didn't get it. So I feel like doing it at an early stage and like getting that ingrained into your mind, like, it is about culture, that you just have to do that. Again, if you're at university, you can talk about how you've met people from different cultures in your halls, or like things like that. Further on in the videos, I'll talk about how in the pre-screens they did actually ask me that, but that's something I can get into at a later date. But yeah, just with the cover letter, make it really creative. I actually put like a little like Walt Disney quote at the bottom, and like a little like image of like ears or the castle. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember which one I used in the end. I think it was the castle, like right at the bottom. And I was also going to include a photo of when I went to Disney back in 2016, but I feel like how I made it look, I didn't really want to like add to it and like ruin it. So again, if like you have been before, then maybe add a photo or two. Like, that could be really nice. It's a nice little like gesture, like something a little bit extra that other people won't do, because that is the thing as well. You want to stand out. Like, although I'm telling you to write about culture, 10 people could go away from this video and write the exact same application because they're talking about culture, but then it's the cover letter and the CV that really come down to it and make you like an individual, and that's what like the Yummy Jobs team are going to remember. So definitely add your little touch to it. If you want to add like a little like infographic, or if you want to add like a little photo when you went, that's always a really nice thing to do, I think. Another thing that I will add at this stage as well, and a lot of people have again asked me this question, it's will they just reject me if I've never been to Disney? No. I've only ever been to Disney once, technically twice. I went to Paris when I was 3, but I don't remember it. And they don't care about that at all. Like, if anything, they actually like it when you've not ever been, because like the excitement of being like, okay, I could work here and I've never even been here before, like that's something that's really exciting. Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about that if that's something that, like, if anyone's worried about the fact that you've not been before, or if you've been like 50 times, that literally does not matter at all. Like, they don't care. Obviously if you have a good experience you can talk about in your cover letter, then that is good, but it's not the be all and end all of the application process. Like, you're not going to fail if you don't have a cast member story to tell, because again, I can say this until I literally go, like my head explodes, but like, it is about culture. You just have to talk about that as much as you physically can. Also, you can mention how you want to work with like a really global company and like a really successful global corporation that do so much for different countries, and that's a really big thing as well, because again, you're still touching on the culture aspect, but you're then also talking about Disney as a company without being really like fangirly and like Disney fan about it, which I think is really good as well. If you're a huge Disney fan and like you love it and you know every quote and every word to every song and every film, first of all, I can't relate, but what I will say is I wouldn't touch on that too much. Obviously, if you are a huge Disney fan, you can talk about that. Like, I'm sure if you mention that you grew up with Disney, like, that's a nice thing to add, but don't forget they probably read that application 500 times, so it's like, you can touch upon it, but I wouldn't make it your main focus of your application. You're applying to work for a global cultural company. You're not applying because you're a massive Disney fan, and that is one thing to bear in mind. Okay, so to wrap up this video, a few quick things that I will disclaim before you go off and apply is it is a very long and draining process, not just the application but the whole thing. You have to be dedicated and you have to be prepared to be waiting for a very long time. I didn't find out whether I got through to the pre-screens until very end of August, early September. It was right before I moved back to uni. I'm pretty sure it was one of my very last shifts at work. I found out and then had to go into work, which was just not fun because no one cared. I was running around like, I've got a pre-screen, and they were like, what is that? Like, someone stop her from running around like a crazy woman. So yeah, definitely bear in mind that it's a long waiting game, but it's so worth it. Obviously, if you guys want to apply, then good luck. I wouldn't be too scared about not hearing back. You hear back either way, which is really nice because it's like quite reassuring, and you can apply more than once. Like, if you don't get in the first year, you can obviously apply the following year. Another thing that I probably should have mentioned at the very start of the video, you do have to be a university student to do the CEP. The CRP, which is the year-long programme, you don't have to be in university, but for the one that I'm on, the programme that I'm talking about, you do have to be at university in your second or third year, or like final year, you know? So yeah, or you have to have like completed at least a year of university and be going into your second. So I applied when I was going into my second year. I know that a lot of people that I've like found on YouTube or like found in group chats are in their final year of university, so that also does count, like if you haven't graduated yet. So yeah, just bear that in mind as well. Obviously, if you are applying, good luck. I would love to hear your guys' stories. If you have applied, let me know in the comments how you guys got on. Let me know in the comments as well if you used any of my tips, and yeah, keep me updated with the process because I'm nosy, and yeah, I really want everyone to work for Disney. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, let me know. I'm obviously going to be filming a pre-screen interview and a final interview video as well as this one at a later date. I won't be filming those right now because I feel like this is the one that most people are asking about, and like that doesn't come till much later on. So I will be filming those eventually, so make sure to subscribe if you're not already and you want to see those. Also subscribe if you want to watch my Disney vlogs when I'm going to be there for the whole of summer. So there's going to be a lot of videos coming up very soon, and yeah, I can't wait to see you guys again soon with another video. Bye!